Now, easy, big guy. Hold on.
Kong! Kong! Kong!
Hello, my name's Duncan, and welcome to Back Away from Donkey Back Books, and welcome to another Giant Ape-ril video. And as if you've been following along, Giant Ape-ril was an event created by Roy from Roy Reads Anything, all to do with the power of King Kong in literature, in films, basically anywhere. I'm one of the co-hosts, and also Annie is at Obscure Book Adventures, so have a look at their content. I've got a playlist below of, I think, all the videos that people have done for Giant Ape-ril. I may have missed a couple. If I have and it's one of yours, just tell me and I'll put it on that list. But yeah, so click on that list if you want to see all the Giant Ape-ril content. So today we are going to be talking about the new film, which was Kong versus Godzilla. Kong and Godzilla, or Godzilla and Kong. Have I got this right way around? But yes, the new empire anyway. So last night, myself and my wife, we trundled across to our local cinema. And I can show you a little film of our little cinema, because it's very small because we live in the back end of beyond. So we're on our way to the cinema tonight just to see King Kong hit Godzilla. And it's just a wee bit damp. Yeah, we went there and watched the new film, and this is my sort of initial reactions. I've not really had a deep think about it, but my initial reactions was, it was okay. And that probably sounds more harsh than it was. But I've got here the ones that came before in there. So we started off this series of the Titans things with the Godzilla. The Godzilla, 1998 Godzilla, as much as I love it, which a lot of people don't. This one was really, really good, and it had the most fantastic halo jump of any film ever. Then we had Kong Skull Island, which to me was the pinnacle of the Kong stuff, of the sort of new wave of Kong films. It was basically a war film. It was a war film with King Kong in. It was Apocalypse Now with a giant ape, and I really, really enjoyed it, because it felt different, it felt individual. And then we get on to Godzilla King of Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong. And to tell you the truth, I cannot remember much about those films, which I think is a problem with those films. Unfortunately, I never got round to watching either of those two before I went to the cinema to see this one. I've watched a lot of Kong content, but I've watched lots of really dodgy Kong content over the past few weeks. And you'll see some of my videos coming out recently, and the next few days we'll be talking about it. So let me start with the Kong Godzilla, the new empire, or Godzilla Kong. I can't remember which way round it is. It doesn't really matter. And as you know, the world, if you don't know, a film, even if it's a sequel, should be able to stand by itself. And that is my first point. When I started off, I was a little confused and of who was who and what was what. And I think that could be the fact that I didn't watch the last film recently. It's been a few years since I've seen it, and that could be my problem with it. But it would have been nice to have stood up a bit. But basically, Godzilla has been roaming around in the normal world, killing all the titans that come to life. Appear from nowhere. And Kong has been sort of segregated into what is the Hollow Earth. And then we have, I cannot remember anybody's names, the main scientist whose young adopted daughter was one of the last residents of Skull Island, and she's getting like these messages, dreaming about these things, and there's strange messages coming, strange transmissions coming through what they were monitoring. And because of that, they basically end up going to the Hollow Earth. Along the way, they pick up some weird guy who's a vet, as in animal vet, who does some dentistry on King Kong, because King Kong hurt himself. And then they go and explore the Hollow Earth. I'm not going to give all the plot points away. For starters, I can't remember half of them. And I think that's part of the problem with the film is this is 12, 13 hours later, and I've forgotten half of what was going on as it was. I enjoyed the film, but coming out of the film, because my wife is in a wheelchair, we get a discount for the ticket because my wife can't go by herself. And I must admit, if I paid full going rate prices for it, I would have been a little disappointed. But it's a funny film. There's a few funny things about it. I said it doesn't make itself stand out. Give me 3 or 4 days and I will totally have forgotten this film. There's nothing that makes it stand out much or stick out. There's a really weird soundtrack and score going on. Sometimes you get an orchestral score, and then you get this weird, almost 80s synth pop score going on. And you've got this vet guy who they're trying to make like the comedy relief, almost making him like a Peter Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy sort of character. They've even got, you have certain sort of music that starts up when he appears, and they're even at one point flying a aircrafty spaceship type thing that looks very much like the Marauders from Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think somebody's been watching too much of James Gunn's output, and it hasn't got the flair that like the first Guardians of the Galaxy film had. It's an enjoyable film, but there's a huge chunk of it. There's like they're in the Hollow Earth, and the visual effects are really well done. You know, you see the Komg, all the hairs on the ape, and all the rendering of all the Hollow Earth. But there's like about a 20-minute chunk, which is Komg going around the Hollow Earth and exploring it, and it literally is an animated film. It's a Pixar film almost, I suppose, without the cuddliness. So that almost makes you feel a little disjointed from the whole of the adventure. And there's some really nice things. There's really nice scenes in it. There's a great scene with Komg and the Colosseum in Rome, and there's scenes like that. I think the scenes actually on real Earth, not the Hollow Earth, sometimes works a bit better. We also have Mothra reappear, but the bits down the Hollow Earth don't feel real, and maybe they're meant to feel otherworldly. But overall, yeah, it's very hard to explain. And then the ending of the film, it's really weird. It's almost like they didn't know how to end the film, because it just almost suddenly just sort of stops. So, yeah, I'm a little confused. I'm not sure where else they can go with this franchise. I'm very interested because on Apple TV they have a TV series of Monarch, and I think in the next few months we are going to sign up to Apple TV for a few months because there's a couple of things on there we want to watch. So we normally sign up in, so for a couple of months and watch some stuff, and then unsign so we're not subscribed to it all the time. So I'll be interested to watch that on there to see if they manage to expand it a bit better. Because I'm a little confused about where they're going to go with this sort of franchise. Like all the original sort of Godzilla and Godzilla's films, the Japanese ones, they sort of did different things with each film, as much as some of them are really, really bad. Different things. This one just feels a sort of lackluster blockbuster. And I will say that it has the problem that a lot of modern big blockbuster films have, is the sound balance is terrible. It's too loud in points, too low in other points. I may sound like an old man whining about too loud noises. My wife is oversensitive to sound, so she has to wear ear defenders in there. But I've got to the point now in a lot of these big films, I'm having to wear earplugs as well because it's so loud. Actually, the worst thing was the last Fast and Furious film. That was this ridiculous volume. And I don't want to sound like an old man whinging, but yeah, that's one of the things. So it may sound like I've been really quite negative in my sort of brief talk about it. It's worth a watch. I probably wouldn't. It's the first time we managed to go out for quite a while because my wife's been quite ill. So it was a nice for a day out for us. But as an overall thing, would I have paid to go to the cinema of it? No. I would have quite happily waited for it to hit sort of the streaming services. And I quite enjoyed it. So not to negatively do, I quite enjoyed it, but it's a bit of a forgettable film. Definitely not the best film with King Kong in. Definitely not the best of this run of modern Kong Godzilla films, which I still think is the first Godzilla film. But if you want the one with Kong in, is Kong Skull Island, which I really like. And that's just what I think. So yeah, So that's my just brief initial reactions to the film, and I hope I've made some sense. And I will be back later with some more Giant April stuff for this week. So last week of Giant April, but I will have some other non-Giant April content coming out this week as well. Oh God, I use the word content. I hate the word content. Videos coming out later this week. Though I may leak a little bit into May, because I've got some other things. I've just made a discovery of something I want to make a video about. But anyway, I will speak to you all very soon, and bye-bye for now.